welcome to the Sports Show. Mike, Max, Patrick, Royce, Brian Lawton. Great to have him back in the studio. And Sid Hartman. How are you, big guy?
Okay.
Yeah, okay?
Yeah.
You happy with the Wild splitting down in St. Louis, or how you feel?
Well, talked to Chuck Fletcher today. He thinks they have a chance to win the Stanley Cup if they really play the way they've been playing. And he's all excited. I mean, people who don't care about hockey, all of a sudden, their buddies care about hockey, and all of a sudden everybody's interested in hockey, playoff hockey. They're not interested.
That's kind of how you get sucked in.
Regular season.
You became an ancillary guy until the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Once they get in the playoffs, a lot of people are interested.
So I was,
including me. I watch every game.
Well, Brian, I would say, as we have surmised for the last several weeks, you're right. The Wild could win the Stanley Cup. So could St. Louis. So could Chicago. So and the list goes on and on.
Yeah, absolutely. It hasn't been this wide open a long time, Mike. I mean, no San Jose Sharks, but more importantly, no LA Kings. We had 7 new teams qualify for the playoffs this year. That's the parity that's going on in the league right now, and that's, quite frankly, what makes it wide open for the Wild. Obviously, Chicago's a favorite in the West, Anaheim, St. Louis. Whoever wins this battle between the Wild and St. Louis, in my opinion, will probably win the West.
Really?
Yeah.
Patrick?
I like Anaheim a lot, though, with Getzlaf and Perry, don't you?
These guys have money.
Birds, but I think what you got here is the best St. Louis team since the Wild, since the NHL came back to Minnesota, and the best Wild team. So, hey, it'll be fun, man. They're two very good teams, I think. And the Blackhawks, Nashville's kind of in trouble now after Shea Weber's out. So that's like if you took Suter out of the, or maybe worse than if you took Suter out of the Wild team. But yeah, it's going to be great. It's and the thing is, Brian, I think when you played, home ice seemed to be a big deal. It doesn't seem to be a big deal.
We talked about
It's 3-2.
Yeah.
It's 3-2. You know, it's nobody comes out and gets 4 in the first period and blows somebody out.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
The Blackhawks, after they won this Stanley Cup, they lost a number of players, pretty good players.
Yeah.
That was 4 years ago.
Kid from here, how they got that pain
Dustin Bufflin.
back. That makes a big difference.
Kane?
But can they beat the Blackhawks, the Wild?
I think they can. I think this is a year that they played them really tough.
Let's worry about the Blues.
Yeah, well,
they got Tarasenko. Let's worry about the Blues. The Blues are really good.
So Brian, why did the Wild beat the Blues, and why did the Blues beat the Wild?
Well, for the Wild, it's all about speed and transition game, and that's what the team is built on. It's not the biggest team in the league. You look at this team up in Winnipeg, and you're talking about Dustin Bufflin, and you know this is one of the biggest players in the league. That's the way that the West has traditionally played. That's what the LA Kings were. They were big and methodical. They controlled the play. The Wild have gone in a different direction, and it's really paid off for them. Obviously, the goaltender's been huge, but their style of play has been good.
What makes the Blues so good?
The Blues are more in the mold of the LA Kings. They're a little bit heavier, a little more grinding. They need guys like Tarasenko to step up because they don't have necessarily those big...
How about the goaltender?
The goaltender for them is, the goaltending for them is their Achilles heel, in my opinion.
He was terrific yesterday, though.
When he had to be,
He was terrific on Saturday. The thing about the Blues is that they... You know, they got that Tarasenko, but they're deep too. Don't you think they're deep?
They're very deep, but they have a cast of players that just has failed time and time and time again in the playoffs. They're fantastic in the regular season. And the reason, in my opinion, that happens is that their coach really drives them hard. Ken Hitchcock is a hard guy. They play exactly playoff hockey all year long. They have a great regular season, and we haven't seen them be able to turn it up a notch or two in the playoffs. The Blues.
The Wild looked a step faster than them on Thursday, but not yesterday.
No, that's right. And the Blues stepped it up, but this is a challenge for them. If the Blues don't beat the Wild...
How many jobs has Hitchcock had?
Well, Dallas, Philadelphia, Columbus, St. Louis, you know, but he's got...
2 jobs?
This is his 4th job, 4th head coaching position.
Why has he moved around so much if he's so good?
Just an absolute fanatic on the players. He hasn't learned how to let up until recently. And his communication with the players has been better, but he was 24/7 hockey, and it's been too much. It's been great to start organizations, and then it wears thin, and then he has to move on. He's softening as he goes.
There's another reason he said. There's another reason. It's the NHL. It's musical coaches.
Yeah.
I remember the Blues. I used to go to St. Louis a lot during the Laker days, and they played in the biggest dump in the world.
Sure,
Checker Dome.
the Checker Dome, that's right, amongst other names, the Checker Dome.
Worse owned that thing. It was like the State Fair building.
That's right. That's right. I played many games. I played many games there. It was a dump. Their building is beautiful.
The Hawks and the Blues were never there at the same time, so. The Hawks and the Blues.
Oh, you mean basketball? The basketball Hawks team, not the Blackhawks.
had already gone to Atlanta by the time the Blues started playing.
That's right.
Who's your playoff pick for the Wild in terms of a player that you think is right on the cusp? You know, Scandella's been so good the last couple of weeks, at least offensively. Do they have one guy like that you see is right on the cusp?
I think they have a number of guys, and you know, for me, I'm looking for Nino Niederreiter to have the kind of playoff he had last year.
Because you think he has that ability and he's built for the playoffs a little bit.
He's got the size and the speed, and you know, to me, he just seems like a player that just needs a little bit extra motivation to get going, and when he does that, he's incredibly dangerous. He did it last year.
Blues team now.
Who owns it? Tom Stillman, a person from Minnesota, as a matter of fact, a former Minnesota person. Yes.
They had a lot of trouble. At one time, it looked like they were going to go out of business.
They have had a lot of trouble over the years. The Lorries came in and really pumped them back up. The Walmart family, of course, the Lorries.
Who's the guy from Minnesota?
Tom Stillman, and he is one of about 15 different people that are owners, but Tom is the majority.
Minnesota?
Yes, he is.
Does he live here?
He doesn't live here anymore, but he's from here.
You know who was good Saturday? Charlie Coyle, when he almost got the tire.
Ooh, was that close?
Yeah, he was
nice
really
play
good.
by Backus. How about a big night for Spring Lake Park yesterday? Troy Merritt was leading the golf tournament by 3 strokes, and David Backus saved the game. Both Spring Lake Park boys. Stillman, unfortunately,
Furyk ended up winning it.
Merritt got beat. Merritt shot 69 today and got beat.
More hockey talk and much more straight ahead. Stay with us.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King, for the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology, life is worth hearing.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in steady work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
You're watching CW-23.
Whoa, that's a pig. Whoa, that's a leech.
Relive all the laughs all over again.
What do men have that women don't?
Beards.
Lower.
Beards.
2.5 Men.
Tomorrow at 9:30 and 10 on CW-23.
You've been working here for what, 10 years?
11, come July.
11 years, huh? Well, I guess I should have seen it coming.
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to blindside anybody.
No, it's just that you've always been my go-to guy, Mr. Dependable.
Thanks.
I'm happy for you. You finished your degree, and that's big stuff.
The American Way, helping you work towards a brighter future, offering a variety of degrees online or on campus with credit for qualified work experience.
We're going to miss you around here.
Find us at national.edu.
Ford is taking the EcoBoost Challenge all across America. Now it's your turn.
Here we go. To know that the F-150 has the EcoBoost, I'm saving fuel, but I'm not losing any of the power.
The 2014 F-150s are going fast. Don't miss your last chance to get a great deal.
Ford is towing it so easily. I love the Ford. I like to drive it all the way home.
The 2014 F-150s are going fast. Hurry in to your local Northland Ford dealer today and get these great offers while supplies last.
Welcome to Subway. What can I make for you?
How about our new Caesar melts? Tender steak or all-white meat grilled chicken strips, new mild and melty Munster cheese, and creamy Caesar sauce. Hurry in today.
Subway. Eat fresh.
See why more people are coming to Audi than ever before at Audi Minneapolis. Experience the legendary performance and handling of an A4 2.0 T Quattro. Lease yours for only $379 a month. Plus, Audi Minneapolis will make your first month's payment. Or try out the luxury and power of an A6. Lease for just $499 a month. The Summer of Audi event at Audi Minneapolis on 394 at General Mills Boulevard and at AudiMinneapolis.com.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines, that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
Going downtown, stop by J.D. Hoyt's. Perfect place before you go to a Wild game, a Twins game, or any of the above. J.D. Hoyt's right there in Washington. Boys, that's some good food. Welcome back to the sports show. Has Gary Bettman done a great job as a commissioner then, are you saying, because they got parity?
I think so. I was actually in New York last week, and I had a chance to stop in and visit with Gary for a while. It was kind of a rare day. It was the day before the playoffs, and Gary was dressed casually, which you never see at the NHL.
I didn't know you had
and
casual wear.
Yeah, I said, geez, what's going on, Commissioner? And he's like, well, you know, it's the calm before the storm. But he was absolutely ecstatic about where the game's at now, and we talked about it. We talked how the game wasn't nearly as strong in the early 2000s.
David Stern learned everything from him.
He learned everything from Gary Bettman?
Bettman, the basketball guys will tell you that Bettman came up with all the stuff, and then when he left, a lot of those NBA guys were sick. But he's a sharp guy, and he's a great guy, too. He tried to move those Jets here. We had it all set. And
you okay over there, Patrick?
What do you
I don't know, Sid. You've told the story a couple of times. If I had $20 for every time you wrote that story, I'd be paying cash for.
Well,
that's the Target Center one, right?
Yeah.
And to be fair,
Bettman wanted to move me.
Well, it's the best thing that ever happened to the Twin Cities because they didn't play in that dump of a Target Center. They got a new building in St. Paul that's about 8 times as good.
Yeah, okay.
Patrick, what's the best playoffs of all the sports?
Well, I think hockey grows. Let me say this. I think the best thing that they've done is the new playoff format. The 2 big divisions within each conference, and the fact that they're getting, you know, we're creating rivalries here.
Yeah.
We haven't, the Wild haven't had any rivalry with the Blues, 0. I mean, the North Stars had one way back when, but who cares? But the Wild now are having one. Last year they played the Blackhawks. They had one there.
Colorado,
and
building
you
a
know,
rivalry.
Colorado a little bit. And if they get Vegas and Seattle, which I think they're gonna have 32 teams. They're gonna have 16 in the East, 16 in the West. It's gonna be perfect. And I think the new playoff format's great because you end up playing your own division and you're creating rivalries. And you know, Winnipeg's gonna be a great rivalry too.
Oh, for sure. Brian, if they get Vegas and Seattle, what will be the price of poker? What do you have to do to get into the league?
Boy, I'll tell you, I'll be surprised if expansion fee doesn't start with at least a 4, and that, of course, would be $400 million, in my opinion.
Why would Vegas be a good hockey town?
You know what? The town is growing. There's a person there that's leading it. Bill Foley right now is the driving force behind what's going on in Vegas. And these guys are serious about, you know, I think the NHL in some way would potentially like to be the first of the major sports into Vegas. I think that might be something that...
Will they gamble on hockey?
No, they'll never allow gambling on hockey while they're in there.
The team,
NHL will go very strong on that.
Vegas, NHL gambling is not a big deal for the NHL.
I
think it's going to happen, and Vegas is a huge city.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people who have
to
nothing to do with the casinos.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people who want something to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of businesses that are moving from California into Vegas and that are real serious about being there long term.
When will that happen? Soon?
I would say 2 more seasons, and you know, I think there's a very strong possibility.
Seattle got a building?
Seattle does not have a building. They've got some work to do there.
They'll build one, though, I think.
Yeah, they'll build one eventually. They'll get basketball back in the NHL.
They wouldn't build it for basketball.
They will
brokered a deal to replace Phil Falcone with an owner there in Chicago, and you brought him into the Wild fold. He's now the second, the minority owner with the biggest share. Are there a lot of guys with that kind of money that are looking to become NHL owners?
Yeah, there really are. You know, the NHL is at a place right now where, you know, the revenues have been so strong. There's no, there's labor peace for another 8 years still with the CBA. The business has settled down nicely. If not for a weaker Canadian dollar the last 24 months, things would really be rolling along for the National Hockey League. They are, as it is, and interest has never been higher in the league.
What do you think of Subban not getting suspended?
You know, I was okay with it. I mean, it's the NHL's doing a great job. The officials are doing a great job of getting rid of fighting A, right? We don't have nearly as much fighting. Let's be honest.
No.
Fighting it's not only is fighting gone, but the guys that just played those roles. There are no more Willie Pletts or guys like, at least Willie could play a bit, but now that's been taken out, and a lot of the slashing and things that we saw with Subban the other night, that's been taken out.
But if you don't suspend a guy for a flagrant slash like that, when's he going to get suspended?
Well,
there's a big feeling that it's because it's Montreal. If it had been vice versa in Ottawa, they would have suspended him.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think throwing him out of the game was pretty penal. They really had a chance to win that game without their best defenseman, Ottawa, and they didn't.
I watch a lot of TV. I got 9 TVs, so I watch hockey. I see a lot of empty seats in some of those hockey arenas during the regular season.
You don't see it in any of the traditional markets. There's not one traditional market that has empty seats.
That's not doing well.
That's not doing well. There isn't. You do see it in Arizona, you do see it in Carolina, and you do see it in Florida. But other than that, the National Hockey League attendance is through the roof. And
Florida's part of Miami, Miami's part of Florida.
This was one of the best years.
Tampa Bay actually draws well.
Tampa Bay does very well.
Now, obviously, you were at Tampa one time. They were telling me the owner, Tommy Curvers, was telling me, he was the assistant GM there, gives away $50,000 to a different charity every game, and this has become a great big deal down
Tampa?
there. Yeah. And these people have rallied behind this owner, I guess, right, Brian?
Yeah, he's a terrific guy, Jeff Finnick. He fired me, unfortunately. No, Jeff's he's a real quality guy. He's doing a fantastic job.
And Todd Lywick and he are developing that whole area down there, I guess.
Todd is doing a nice job.
Condos and everything else?
Jeff was exactly the type of owner they needed to really invest quite a bit of money in the club, and it's really taken
That's what he's doing, huh?
Yeah, and the economy is much better. I was there in 08. It was at an all-time weakness in Florida.
Take a break, come back. You're watching The Sports Show.
Ever wonder, why do I hear but not understand? Scientists at Cambridge University discovered the answer. Inside your cochlea, there are thousands of tiny hearing hair cells. Poor hearing occurs when regions of these hair cells die. Amplifying a dead region with hearing aids makes you hear worse, not better. The result of this study is a hearing clarity breakthrough. Using standard test equipment, dead regions of your cochlea are identified. Then, a new type of frequency-shaping hearing aid is programmed to bypass the dead regions. Only your usable hearing hair cells receive amplification. Brilliant. A local study is underway. 100 citizens with hearing problems are needed to receive this testing and then wear the tiny device for 10 days, recording your results. Call now to see if you qualify. Volunteers may keep the product at a special discount if they desire. Don't miss this opportunity. Call now.
Thanks for watching CW-23.
In a world full of compromise, the Audi A3 takes a different path. Get uncompromised design, the style and presence of Audi in a lighter, smaller form. Uncompromised performance, a lightning-quick turbocharged engine, and race-bred S-tronic transmission. Uncompromised luxury with standard leather seating and panoramic sunroof. Lease your A3 for only $299 a month. Plus, during the Summer of Audi event, Audi Minneapolis will make your first payment. Stay uncompromised. Audi Minneapolis.
Audi Minneapolis, right off of 394 and General Mills Boulevard. Stop on by, test drive an A8. You won't believe the way it feels. Welcome back to the sports show. You can move it down to the Twins. The Twins came back with a decent week.
Yeah, I don't know how they turned the thing around. They made a switch in the batting order, and I don't know, that was kind of magic. I thought today that a lot of guys at Robinson, he got 3 hits, made a great catch in center field. At relief pitcher, at was the #1 draft choice in Miami. What's his name?
Aaron Thompson. Way back
came
when,
in
yeah.
and did a great job, and Hunter got a home run, and they played pretty good today.
Looks easy when they win like that, Patrick.
Yeah, I was going to mention Robinson, too. It's nice that when a ball's hit in center field, you actually think somebody's going to catch it, which is a change. Schaefer goes the wrong direction. He can't play center field. And so they went to Robinson because of the left-handed pitching, but I think he'll end up playing there a lot more here. And even whether neither one of them is going to hit a lot, but if neither of them is going to hit, I'd say go with the guy who's going to catch the fly ball. May's been okay. He's 6 decent innings. Cleveland's having trouble swinging a bat, but May pitching 6 innings against that left-handed lineup's pretty good. Their first 7 hitters are lefties, and some of them are pretty good. So
I'm a big believer.
4-2 homestand.
I'm a big believer in Paul Molitor. I just think he's a class guy, and obviously it was a tough start for them, but it was a tough start for an opponent too, to be fair.
You've read Melrose come in, you've seen all these. What's the learning curve for when it's the first time through for a manager or coach? Obviously they know the game really well. That's not a problem, but you're managing people, time, all these things. What's the hardest thing?
Well, I still think there is a learning curve, even for a Hall of Fame player like Paul Molitor. It's going to, he just hasn't been in this position before. Obviously, he's been around the game and he's done everything he could possibly do but manage. So for me,
is he managing the people?
Yeah. Paul's a good manager of people, though. But he still has to get to know the personalities better, and that's going to take time, and there's a different relationship when it doesn't matter if you're in the clubhouse, but when you're the manager or the head coach or the general manager, you have a different relationship than other positions in the organization. And Paul's going to have to feel his way through that.
But he's exceptional. He's known most of these players when he had the other job. When he traveled all over the minor leagues, he knew all these guys.
Yep.
It's not like a guy walking in and have to start all over. And I just think he's going to do a great job.
Patrick, what do you think the toughest part is for him?
I think the toughest part is he's about to go on a 6-game road trip and play teams that are better than him 6 games.
Yeah, 6 straight games.
That's the biggest problem.
Yep.
That's the biggest problem he's got, is that most of the time when he plays,
they're not as good as the other team.
The other team has better players than he does. That's his biggest problem.
Yeah.
We'll see what they do. They go to Kansas City now. Kansas City has lost a few games, but I'll tell you, of all the teams in baseball, that manager at Baltimore, what a job he's done. And what a job they've done with that club, turn that team around. Andy McPhail, I understand from reading some of the Baltimore papers, he brought in a lot of those players, and they fired them regardless. And now they're one of the better teams in baseball.
Yeah, the most amazing thing he does is he handles Angeles. Remember when Angeles had the reputation as the craziest guy in baseball?
Yep.
And his kid's supposed to be goofier than him, and you never hear from them. You just Showalter runs the operation, and you don't hear from them, which is kind of like Torrey and your guy George. When Torrey got there, we didn't hear as much about George.
All of a sudden, it became a back issue.
I always said Steinbrenner wouldn't fight. I mean, Torrey wouldn't fight.
And that was the way to handle it.
He wouldn't go to the newspapers and complain about George. And
everything's fine.
All of a sudden, because George will give you good players.
He would. Take a break, come back, stay with us.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I'd go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I'd go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to TicketKingOnline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
You're watching CW-23.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender. Beacon Bank, responsive, reliable. Just spent some time with Bob Weiss at his office, and they got it going on. Boy, you want to live the American dream, get a partner like Beacon Bank. Welcome back to the sports show. Move it down to Adrian Peterson.
These people can find a Beacon Bank. I can't find our office in our building.
That's another story for another time.
Then they lock it up now on Saturday and Sunday, and you got to have radar to
Well,
get
those
in.
people don't know who you are. That's the problem. Adrian Peterson, where does it fall?
Ain't going anyplace. But you tell me that Jerry Jones didn't know that those two guys wrote those internet stories. One went another way. Behind the scenes, he's trying to get him, but he ain't going to get him.
You think he's back or
Be
not,
something
Patrick?
if he shows up tomorrow. 250,000 if he shows up tomorrow.
Patrick?
I think the agent's a genius. He turned the narrative in from how much of a cut is Adrian going to have to take to how. Adrian, will you please take $12.75 million? I think Doger's a genius.
You and Agent Brian put the hat on. How are they done with this?
Well, you know, for me, it's been all over the map, quite frankly. I mean, it's been everywhere and anywhere. And I, like the rest of this town, is waiting to see what happens tomorrow.
I think we're throwing darts at the wall. I don't know what's going to happen.
Best thing, what could have happened, say he starts the season, and the year out, he's terrible. And all of a sudden, they release him, don't pay him nothing. Or they got to pay him after if he plays, they can release him the first exhibition games, but they can't release him once the season starts. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's quite a saga. Move down to Timberwolves so we can get through it all. You satisfied with the development of the team this year?
Well, I don't agree with Mr. Rice. He was smarter than me in sports, without a doubt. But I think they got a possibility. If they get one of the good players in that lottery.
It's still going to be a long time.
Well, they're going to get one of the players.
Yeah, they're going to get a good player.
They're going to
and
get
I
a good
think
player.
Garnett will play next year.
How does that help them?
Huh?
How does that help them? His body's broken down.
Well, he can play 12, 15 minutes a game.
So you get 4
he
points out of
worked out the other day for 45 minutes with young Saunders, and he was fine.
Okay.
What do I think? I think the NBA's got a serious problem when you got 25% of the league tanking.
Yep.
I think there should be a class action lawsuit by the ticket holders about fraud.
Yeah, you show up and this is what you see.
Yeah.
Basketball is the one sport that it really,
lends itself to.
Yes, it does.
I say
more
the
than
bottom
any other
5 teams draft in the order of wins, not losses.
Sit on
What they need to do is drop that lottery and have players draft according to how they finish.
End of story. Good night, everybody.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing.